Well, hey, everyone, and welcome back to this week's installment of the Primer Podcast. I'm Pete Stearns, and this is Jessica Flake. We are so excited to be diving again back into Jesus' teaching on the Sermon on the Mount as we've been exploring our kingdom confusions. And so, Jessica, I want to start by asking you kind of a silly question, and you're not allowed to answer in a serious way because they'll ruin it. But if you had one wish, if you had a genie, a magic lamp that could grant you one wish, what would your wish be and why?
Okay, so I love vacations
Okay.
and anything tropical, especially in the wintertime.
Okay.
So I would probably say a vacation at least every month. It's not very extravagant.
A monthly vacation. Okay, there you go. Tempered expectations there. I like it. Mine is actually remarkably similar, but I would wish to have my house be simultaneously at the beach and at the mountains at the very same time.
Like it has to move?
No, I don't know how it would work. That's for the genie to sort out for me. I don't know how it would work, but I would be both simultaneously in the mountains at the same time as I was at the beach.
So like a beach. Well, there are states that are like that.
I don't know, but it's just happening the same time. It's got to be the North Carolina mountains and North Carolina beaches.
Okay.
That's really what it is.
All right.
This week we are looking at a little bit of this picture of what it looks like to have our wishes granted, so to speak, but hopefully, obviously, understanding it in a little bit different capacity, different realm. So I want to open up to Matthew 7, and we'll read verses 7 through 8. It says, "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks, the door will be opened." So how does that passage resonate to you? How have we interpreted that passage within the church at large? Or have you seen that done?
I mean, I think it's one of those things that people, and I've probably felt this way at times, is that the thought of, all right, if you pray, it will happen.
Yeah.
And if you pray, if it doesn't happen, you didn't pray enough, or you're not close enough to God, or whatever it is.
Prayed the wrong way.
Prayed the wrong way. Yeah. Yeah. So that has been some thoughts that have been brought up in the past.
Yeah, it's interesting because we'll read this whole Sermon on the Mount and like, verse after verse of the Sermon on the Mount is reframing our perspective, reframing the kingdoms that we're looking at. And so Jesus is constantly calling us to release our grip on the kingdoms of this world, to claim the kingdom of heaven, to release our identity as citizens of this earth, and instead to claim our citizenship in heaven, to literally die to self and claim instead the glory of God and His hope and His righteousness. And yet you hit a verse like this, and it's immediately back to my earth, my kingdom, my way, my will. And I can't help but think about the people that Jesus is talking to again, where he's talking to the Pharisees, he's talking to the Sadducees, he's talking to the Zealots, he's talking to the Essenes. And I like to think about what their wishes probably were, right? And you look at these Pharisees, and they're bound by this desire to be perfect. And it's like their deepest wish is probably validation, right? Their deepest wish is to feel and to be loved. And what does Jesus say? Ask and it will be given. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened. Like, your only validation that should ever matter can be found in the kingdom of God. Your hope, your love is unconditional. The Sadducees are looking for riches and notoriety and significance. And what does Jesus say? The treasure that is in store for you in heaven cannot rust. It cannot fade away. So come to the door, come to the kingdom of heaven, and you'll receive the very thing that you long for in your life. What do the Zealots want? They want power. They want authority. And what does Jesus say is that I'm the all-powerful God. Come and surrender yourself to this kingdom, and your world will never be shaken, right? Your power, your authority that comes from heaven will never be shaken. Essenes are in desperate need of comfort and safety and protection. Jesus says, I will give you peace. And it's so powerful to think about it that way, is that this isn't about giving me a beach home while also being in a mountain home at the same time, right? This isn't about a monthly vacation. This isn't about being granted infinite more wishes or riches or any of these things. Instead, it's this remarkable invitation to a humble surrender, to seek the kingdom of God and to find ourselves at the doorsteps of the kingdom of heaven, trusting that God is opening that door to us. And what I find the most powerful is then where it goes from there. So can you read verse 12 for us, right? So this is the response to this invitation of prayer.
Yeah. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets.
Yeah. So this is known as the golden rule. And really it's kind of the climax of Jesus' teaching here in the Sermon on the Mount. He's taking all of the law, all of the prophets that he's been responding to, and he's saying it can be summed up in this one statement: do unto others as you would have done unto you. And what's so neat about this is he's actually kind of tweaking a statement that would have been well known at that time by the rabbis, which was, in effect, don't do to others what you don't want done to yourself. Mm-hmm. What do you see as the primary distinction between those? So the difference between do unto others as you wish done to yourself and don't do unto others as you don't wish done unto yourself.
I think the more thought that it's a do something for someone without them doing something for you before.
Right.
So like the don't is meaning, well, as if they treat you kind, treat them kind.
Yeah, okay.
Is the way I'm kind of perceiving it.
Yeah, there is this feeling of like the don't is almost easy, right? It's like we teach I teach my toddlers, don't hit, don't steal, don't call names, don't pull hair, all these different things. It's very simple, right? It's very easy to not do to someone else what you don't want done to you. On the other hand, this invitation to do unto others is almost like this wish granting invitation.
Right.
It's infinite in its nature. Like, think about what I would like someone to do for me, and like I could write you a list that goes on forever. There's never going to be a stopping point to that list. And it's so neat here because Jesus is saying, because in the kingdom of heaven, every need you could possibly have from a spiritual standpoint has been met. Now you get to go pulling from this fount of my love, pulling from this fount of these eternal treasures, pulling from this deep well of security and power that's found in the throne of Jesus. Now go out to others and love them without limit, without ceiling. And I just find that to be almost this overwhelming challenge because it's impossible.
Right.
But then there's this beautiful tie that I can do it because of Jesus.
Thinking it's like through him and through knowing him, we have the ability to love others in a way that is probably humanly impossible. Because I think in a human nature, if someone's hurt you, you're not immediately thought of thinking, okay, I'm going to be kind to them now. Your human nature is more of, I'm actually either going to ignore them or backlash or revenge, whatever it is. But as you continue that relationship with Christ, Jesus is basically saying, ultimately you love others, try to understand others. And like, we're only here for a short period of time in comparison to eternity. And so that is what we're to do, is to go and love and be with others. And that's what all of the laws were about. Yeah. And like, cause I will say that in my past, I'm like, the way that I have felt about the laws is very like, because I'm kind of that perfectionist thought of like, okay, I need to make sure that I can perfect all this. Well, 600 rules, 600 plus rules is a lot. But knowing the golden rule of loving others, I know I can't do it on my own. Yeah. But
because it ultimately goes from 600 to infinite.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it requires this indwelling of God, and suddenly these parables that we've heard so many times make a lot of sense, right? It ends with this parable of the wise and foolish builder, right? And he talks about those that build their houses upon the rock and those that build their houses upon the sand. Like ultimately, the test of that home is its foundation upon which it is rooted. And so ultimately, if we're trying to fulfill the prophets and the law and this golden rule on our own accord, we're like this home that's built upon the sand. We're like, we can do it. Like it'll look fine. You can build a house on the sand, but over time we'll find ourselves spiritually bankrupt, right? Because we're giving from this place of insufficiency. And ultimately we'll reach a place where I can't give anymore. I can't love anymore because I'm doing it dependent on myself. But if we are built upon the foundation of Jesus's unconditional love for us, all we're doing is opening ourselves up to be almost the middleman, this conduit of God's love. And we can do that infinitely because his love for us is infinite. And so it's this constant movement of the love of God through us towards others. And so I think Jesus knows the command that he's giving is impossible. And he roots that command then in an invitation to seek him earnestly in prayer, trusting that if we are praying in a kingdom way, we will be met and filled up in a way that then leads us to have the capacity to do that, which is impossible. Yeah. So it's definitely a beautiful passage. It's a challenging passage, and it's one that I hope you all will sink your teeth into as a group or personally in your devotional journey, and we can't wait to see you soon.
Have a good week. See ya.